Don't we, Tom?
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us. And, this is going to be an interesting show because it's a lot, I personally dealt with and witnessed and saw over about 17 years. So it's getting worse. It's not getting better. Lunatic parents at sporting events for their kids. Nothing good comes out of the crap we're going to talk about tonight, but we think it's important. The show is Law and Disorder, and that is certainly disorder at its best. So we're going to be back in 2 seconds. Stand by, everyone, and we'll be right back.
Very, very timely topic, right, Tom? I mean, this is always a timely topic. Parents out of control, sporting events for their kids. Going on forever, but getting worse, isn't it?
Oh, it's horrible. And it's worse and worse because of the popularity. Travel ball years ago was a thing. You did it, but it's just more and more now. And the advent of daddy ball gets worse, and I'll explain what that nonsense is, but it's a true thing. But you know what, I hope there's a couple of parents that tune in tonight and watch us and listen to what's going to be said, because it's important. Because, hey, parents, newsflash, it's not about you. It's about your kids. Okay,
right.
It's not about you. Living through your kids or cheering for your kid is the best thing on planet Earth. Okay, but it's about your kid. It's about your child playing sports and camaraderie and sportsmanship and team, teammates and all that. The crap that goes on at these events are mind blowing, man.
I remember even being a kid and watching some parents. There's always some parent at your high school game or before that was a little bit loud or whatever, but I never saw violence. I never saw growing up anything like that. I saw the occasional loud parent supporting their kid or screaming, "Hey, Johnny, run faster!" What I mean, and it didn't appear to be harmful. It appeared kind of be like, "Come on, pick it up a little bit. If you're going to be out there, play." But it's taken a life of its own for many reasons, which we'll talk about some of them. But when you see reports in the newspaper, you've seen more than me. You've been involved for a longer period of time with your kids in sports than I was. When you see parents shooting coaches, stabbing coaches, getting involved in fistfights, running on the field, hitting kids, knocking kids out of bounds, crazy stuff that happens.
Yeah.
It has gotten out of control. I mean, what do you think this, tell me something about your stuff, Tom. What have you seen? No names. What's some of the stuff you saw?
And that's what, listen, everyone, I coached softball and baseball for 17 years with my oldest daughter and my son. 17 years. That's a long time at every level. 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, all-star games, 23 U teams, all college girls on the team, that I coached. And thankfully, I can say my teams, my parents never got out of control. They understood because I'd kill them, and they knew that. And I think that's where it starts. Coaches today need to start having parent meetings. This is how it works. You're not talking to your kid during a game. You could say hi in between games. That's it. That's it. And if you get out of control, I'm going to have you removed from the park. Not the umpire, not the tournament director. I'm going to. And if you don't like it, your kid can go with you. That's it. And your kid's off the team. It's that simple. It's that simple. And coaches want to be liked by everyone. And they want to be, part of the parenting and then part of being one of the kids. You can't do that. You have a job to do, whether you're getting paid or not. And whether you're a volunteer or not, the responsibility of those kids' safety and what they're paying for is the ultimate, thing you have to deal with.
So if you're going into coaching your kid or anybody, any group of kids, and you go into it with the right mindset, you go into it with the following understanding. These are a bunch of kids. None of them, unless something really weird happens, is going on to any sort of professional capacity in this game. This is fun and fundamentals. It's learning the basics, depending upon what age you're at. I coached my son in T-ball, and it was fun. Kids are out and walking around, wandering. They're 6 years old. They don't know what they're doing, but they had fun. That's what it's all about. Learning the basics, fundamentals, learning teamwork, working with other people towards a common goal. There are life lessons that you're instilling in your kids if they have the right coach and if the parents can shut their mouths and just be supportive.
Yep.
But so often we don't see that. We're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing parents living through their kids. Like I was an athlete. I didn't make it to the NFL or I didn't make it here. But my kid's gonna because he's special, right?
Right. And that's a big problem. But here's we're going to distribute the problem with this evenly, okay? Half of the problem, well, not half, a percentage of the problem, let's say, is the way colleges recruit now.
Mm-hmm.
You used to recruit and go to showcases at the 18U level. And that's where college coaches came to watch you play and watch how you acted off the field during warm-ups, BP, all that stuff. Now they get recruited when they're 14, 15, 16 years old. So now the demand and oh my God, my kid's got to get the one getting seen. My kid's got to be the one with all the playing time, leading off or hitting fourth, pitching every inning. My kid's got to do that. The hell with everybody else. These coaches need to see my kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it was easier when you knew when college coaches were going to show up, because everyone understood it. Everyone acted a different way because me as a coach instilled that with them and here's why. I had a relationship with so many college coaches because of the girls or guys that I was involved in trying to get them seen by a college. Mm-hmm. College coaches show up anywhere. And college coaches will look at the relationship between parents and their kids as much as just the kid on the field. Mm-hmm. And that says a lot when you're on the side arguing with your kid, yelling at your child. That's a bad sign, and that's not going to go well. But then you got into the whole umpiring world, and getting on umpires or refs. Listen, 17 years of coaching, did I have arguments with umpires? Yeah, hell yeah. Did I get thrown out of a couple of games? Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. Okay. But here's the difference in what's going on today and me. Now, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. I don't mean that. I'm just giving you and everyone out there an experience that I had. Okay. There's a difference between arguing on stuff on the field and then making it personal. I never, ever made it personal. Mm-hmm. Ever. And if I got in an argument with an umpire during the game and in an inning, I would yell, bring my point up, whatever. Never kick in the dirt, yelling, screaming, all that. None of that ever happened. And here's what always happened, Dan, and everyone out there. I'd go into the dugout in between innings. I'd walk up to the umpire, slap him on the back and say, I needed to defend my kid. Mm-hmm. I had to back my player up. And 99% of the time, the umpire go, Tom, I know. I got you.
Yeah.
You don't curse. You don't say anything personal. I got it. You have to do that. We're good. That's it. Mm-hmm. End of discussion. Hey, I'll buy you a hot dog later.
Yeah.
But today they're stabbing and beating up umpires on the field in parking lots.
Crazy. I was reading an article today about a situation that took place a couple of years ago in St. Louis. It was a kids Pee-wee football league. 9-year-old kids playing football. At a practice, there was a father who was all over the coach. He wanted his kid clearly going to be the next, NFL superstar. He wanted more playing time. He wanted more this, more that. And the coach basically kind of had it with him and walked off, interrupted practice to go talk to him. The guy pulls out a gun and shoots the coach 4 times in front of the kids at the practice field because he was pissed off. So now this is, part of it might have been because that guy's just nuts. But a lot of it is emotion wrapped up in the hope my kid is going to be phenomenal. My kid's going to be this. And I think some of it, we have done a lot of damage, in my opinion, with NIL, name, image, likeness. Because now, once your kid hits Division I, if he gets to Division I, He's has a potential to make money off his name, image, or likeness. You don't have to wait till they're in their mid-20s before your kid signs a contract. Your kid could be 18 years old, somebody's wearing his jersey, you're cashing in. So they're pushing this stuff.
Mhm.
As far as refs and umps are concerned, who the heck is going to do this job? I mean, they're not making a fortune. You're talking about kids' sports.
Right.
They might be getting gas money to go to the game, and they do it because they love it. Now, you're sitting out there on a hot day watching your kid play baseball, and you're sitting in your lawn chair with your shorts on. He's wearing long pants. He's wearing a chest protector. He's got a face mask on. He's doing 3 games. He's not making a lot of money. Cut him slack.
Right.
Thank him for enabling your kid to take the field and play a game.
Yep.
Instead, we see parents railing them all over them.
Oh yeah.
It's insane.
You know, there was a stat I got here which is mind blowing. Between the 2019 season and the 2020 and 2021 season, 31,000 referees or umpires quit
Wow.
in this country in that time frame. 31,000 of them went, nah, I ain't doing this anymore. For what? $60?
Yeah.
Which is probably about, you know, maybe a little bit more now, but that was kind of the rate back then when I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
About $60 a game, you know. So okay, you're doing 3 games, you're making a couple hundred. Okay, great, but not worth what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other, you know, just crazy stats. You know, this one blew my mind, and this one really stands out, and this should wake every parent up. Okay, 70% of kids who stop playing by the age of 13 because of their parents.
That's right.
70% because of their parents' actions on the sidelines and just towards them as well. And here's wild, just real quick, and you can go down. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
My daughter was a pitcher, played every level, played in college, you know, was successful in college and all that, went to clinics and all that during her time. And one time she went to Jenny Finch, well, twice she went to Jenny Finch's pitching clinic, you know, camp. Met Jenny Finch, fantastic woman, by the way. But she was there with, I think, 2 or 3 other Olympians who were on the USA Olympic team. Okay. 3 other women and Jenny Finch, but Jenny Finch wasn't included in this talk. They were talking to the kids and all that. All 3 of these Olympians didn't have relationships with their dads.
Wow.
They went to they played at college at a D1 highest level, playing the College World Series, won a national championship, I think. 3 of them won gold medals in the Olympics. All 3 didn't have relationships with their fathers because of the pressure and attitude of parenting during their careers.
Wow. That is crazy. That stat, I saw that stat too. 70% quit because it stops being fun.
Right.
They realize they're not going on to the Olympics and the pros. They realize they're not going to be on a Wheaties box. They get it, but they like to play with their friends and have a good time. And once that leaves, it's done. Once you crush that in a kid, they turn their back on that sport. You know, I think about somebody that you and I have both had the opportunity to meet, although briefly for me. Derek Jeter was a guy who took the field 162 times a year, basically, for how many, 20 years plus? And every time he did, you can tell he enjoyed being on the field.
Right.
That's because his parents nurtured his talent and his desire to play baseball, but didn't beat him up. They didn't scar him. They didn't destroy it for him. And he still enjoyed the game as a 35-year-old man running around Yankee Stadium. And you can tell that. You can't fake that. He was on the field enjoying it. So true talent is going to rise, and it's going to be there anyway. All you can do is nurture it or crush it. And parents are out there crushing kids' souls and spirits when it comes to this, and kids are turning away from it. And that's the saddest part.
And that's the saddest part. And here's another reason why. The greatest memories of these young girls, and even, you know, when they get to 18 or whatever, young women, boys growing up to be young men, the greatest memories they have are from their travel time. My daughter is 29 years old. she still is in contact with players that she played with when she was 14.
Mm-hmm.
They still are in touch with each other, 16, 18, because they're the best memories they'll ever have playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have parents that just take it away from them, the memories are shot. Now what they got? They don't ever
Right.
want to play again. They don't ever want to see a softball again or a baseball because of the trauma that they went through with their parents. And here's a big part of it. And this is, a certain point, a definite point I wanted to get to. Parents need to understand and realize expectations. Okay. Like you just said it earlier, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's about 4% now of D1 players in the United States are going to get drafted. 4% out of 200,000 athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
In all
Hey,
those various
are there out there? Absolutely. But you need to understand the expectations of your child. I
Right.
can't tell you the amount of times that I was there, coaching and at an 18U level, is when the colleges start coming and talking to coaches and all that, that a parent would hand me a list. These are the colleges that whoever's interested in. These are coaches that, can you get in touch with them? And I'd look at them and go, no.
Mm-hmm.
No. Listen, I love your daughter. She's probably the biggest hustler on this team, but she's not playing at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to UCLA. You have to manage and understand their expectations. Am I telling anyone not to go after a dream? No.
Mm-hmm.
No. But there's 3 divisions for a reason.
Right.
Okay. And let me tell you something. My daughter played at a D3 school and was their closer for 4 years and had the best time of her life and faced some of the best hitters she ever will.
Mm-hmm.
Guess why? Here's why, everybody. Because they go to a D1 school, they get a scholarship or half scholarship, whatever it might be, and they don't play for 2 years.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And parents and the player start flipping out.
Right.
And then they transfer and go to a team where they're going to play every time.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yep. That should be a wake-up call for everybody right there.
Right.
My daughter, who is an athletic trainer, had the opportunity to work with teams at the D1 level in Big Ten football and Big Ten track and field. And, Russell Wilson among them when he was at Wisconsin. And she knows very well how deeply committed and motivated those athletes are. Now, the ones that she said that are the most, and I don't want to summarize, if she's going to listen to this, she may correct me, but the ones that are the most stable in their lives, the ones that can withstand a minor injury and come back from it, are the ones who are self-motivated. Not motivated because if I don't make the Olympics, my father will kill me, disown me.
Right.
So doing that, holding stuff over a kid's head is not a motivator. It's not. It
Nope.
just doesn't work that way. And she saw quite a few athletes who had coaches on them, expectations of family that were so grandiose that if they had an ankle twist, they went to the deepest depression. She dealt with it. They had suicide attempts, cutting, eating issues, body image issues, all that stuff because of so much pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not unusual for high-level, high-performing athletes. But when you add to that and make it worse,
right,
you're crushing your kid.
Yep. I mean, I've heard parents, not my players. I've heard parents tell you suck.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
How do you think your kid's going to react to that? You think that's a motivator? You think that's going to get someone going? No, does the opposite. And they feel bad, and you don't know what's going on in their lives to begin with, and then get told, that to some kids, the only outlet they have is sports.
Mm-hmm.
And being part of a team and being successful and wanting to be, the hero of the game, get the big hit, make the big play, whatever it might be. And when you get told that by your parent, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
Mm-hmm.
And parents don't get, not all. Oh my God. Thankfully, I had a group of parents for years and years and years that were awesome, that just got it, understood it. But why? Because we had a parent coaches meeting every season, whether it was the spring, the summer, or the fall.
Mhm.
We had just 10, 15 minutes in the outfield or near the dugout. Hey, everyone, here's how goes. You're not talking to them at practice. You're dropping them off. Go home. Leave. You don't need to be here for practice. It's practice.
Mhm.
In between games, if we have a large break, yeah, okay, you can sit with them, have a sandwich or whatever. If we're going game to game, say hi. That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. We're done. You're
Right.
not talking to them in the dugout. You're not talking to them on the field. And they all understood that. And that makes teams good.
Mhm.
That makes players better when their parents are just there to get them going, make them feel good. I mean, Dan, and it's not just, and here's the other thing, everybody, and Dan, it's not just sports. My middle girl is a huge dancer.
That's right.
Big time competitions, national competitions happens there too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
What are you doing? Why didn't you make that turn? Why didn't you do that flip? Why? I mean, you hear it,
Yeah.
like insane conversations that go on. And what is that? My daughter, what's that one girl do? Puts her head down and walks away crying.
Right.
Oh yeah, by the way, in 5 minutes you gotta go back on the stage and do another routine.
Yeah. Their soul is crushed. You just crushed your kid's soul, and then you want them to go back out and perform at the top of their game.
Right.
Way to go.
Right.
And why? Because you weren't able to do it, and you're going to live through your kid, and you're going to be that proud parent standing next to your kid when they get the medal or the big award or the trophy or the scholarship. There are so many parents who have the right attitude towards this, but just enough of them that it keeps making the news. Every sports season that comes around, we're going to be we're in baseball, professional baseball season now. We're going to be rolling into fall ball and football very soon, next month and then on. And you'll see the incidents at practice fields. You'll see and some of it is because you see it in the pros. You see pro players jumping in the faces of refs and umpires, and you see it being normalized, which is crazy. It's just crazy. I mean, I remember when we were kids, Billy Martin was the epitome of the guy that jumped in the umpire's face. He did it all for show.
Right.
He kicked dirt on him and stuff like that, and because the crowd loved it.
Earl Weaver.
He would jump in the umpire's face, and they probably went out for drinks after the game.
No doubt about it. And Billy Martin used to say that. They were all friends. They all knew each other.
It's part of the theater of baseball. He's standing up for the fan. He's doing what he has to do.
Right.
But I never saw Billy Martin punch a referee or an umpire. I never saw, Vince Lombardi or any of the other coaches in the NFL do anything other than walk over and talk to a ref and tell him, hey, you missed the call there. That was stupid. But now we see heated stuff on the sidelines. If you can read lips, you see they're cursing at these guys. What are you doing?
I mean, fights. You're getting in absolute brawls on a field,
right?
With parents. Parents fighting parents, which that's never going to go well.
No.
And listen, these tournaments don't have a police presence. There's no reason for it. You would think there would be no reason for it. So there's no, authority there to break up 15, 16 people having a fight.
Yeah.
And what's happening? Your kids are sitting there watching it, hysterically crying at what's going on.
Right.
Now you got to explain what you just did. And there's no explanation for it. There's no justification for it. There's none. And you just took away maybe the only thing they look forward to every year is that summer travel team. And it's so bad. But listen, real quick before we got going, let's take a little pause and thank all our friends that we have. I got this in the mail. Our Patriot Seltzer by Jason Redman.
Haven't gotten mine yet. I'm just
dude, I didn't even get it. I got it a certain way. We're not going to go there.
Okay.
PatriotSeltzer.com. Check Jason's seltzer out. It's incredible. And our big boys, Galls.com, TacticalGear.com. They're the best. And both of them gave our listeners and our followers and everyone who's involved with Gold Shields and this a promo code to use, everyone. Gold15. Use it on Galls.com, TacticalGear.com for 15% off your purchase. And I'm going to attempt to do something. Everyone, this is live. Remember that. So I'm going to give this a shot. So bear with me for a second.
You're going to
see if I can see if I can do this. Right. Okay. How's that? There's Galls.
Yep.
Okay.
Hmm.
Look at all their stuff, all their great. That's their website. All right, goals.com. Please check them out. We're gonna try to do this. Remember, everyone, this is
Okay. For those listening, Tom has a. I might as well let me just narrate it. Tom has the goals website up on the screen, and I'll let him announce the rest.
yep, and tacticalgear.com, and I think
Mhm.
we're good. Okay, we're back.
Okay, yeah. Well, that worked. It's like on radio, a show on radio, and as you can see, you can.
As you can see. But everyone, please check them out. Goals.com, tacticalgear.com. Gold15 is the promo code at checkout, 15% off your purchases. Thank you to everybody
That's
for
pretty
that.
generous on the goals part. They want to help. This is the kind of company, Goals and Tactical, that we have off camera conversations with them where they're asking us, how do we better serve? How do we better, market? How do we better talk to and support? You don't see that. You just don't see that out there in these
Right.
companies. Most of them sell to you and run away. Not these guys. That's why we love them.
Right. Love them. Love them. Love them.
Mhm.
You know what? I was thinking of just other suggestions for parents out there. You know what? The best suggestion I can have and advice I have for parents of kids on travel teams: talk to parents who went through it already. Have a conversation with parents, who live that life, who have a kid who has nothing but the best memories in the world from their travel days, and talk to them about how'd you do it? What'd you do?
Mhm.
How'd you guys, how was your team together? And get something out of that, because all you're doing is absolutely destroying your kids. You're
Mhm.
destroying them. Every aspect of a dream they had, a goal they had, something they probably live and die doing.
Mhm.
Softball, baseball, dance, volleyball, tennis, whatever it is. They're sitting in their room, and I guarantee you this, because I did it, you did, Dan. Any athlete out there has done it. You
Mhm.
sit in your room and you think of that great moment you could have: the
Right.
game-winning hit, the strikeout at the end of the game, the best dance performance, a hole in one, an ace, whatever it might be.
Mhm.
Every kid is sitting in their room dreaming about that.
That's right.
Don't kill that.
No.
Don't kill it because you're whatever you think, balls and strikes were, an alcohol, any of
Mhm.
that crap.
Right.
You're going to
And
look back on your life and kick yourself in the ass.
and think to yourself, whenever you were doing something that was something you really wanted to do, did you perform better when you were relaxed and felt supported, or when you were being crushed and pressured and talked down to and given high expectations and given threats and all kinds of verbal intimidation? I mean, who responds well to that? Nobody does.
Mhm.
And you know what? And another thing I see is if your kid tells you they don't want to play a sport anymore, if it's just pure laziness, that's one thing. But if they don't want to play a sport anymore, I would say you signed up for this year, finish this season. Don't let the kid just drop anytime they want. It's a bad habit in life, I would say. But if
Mhm.
you've decided by age 13 or 14 or 15, your interests lie elsewhere, you no longer want to play ice hockey or whatever it is, parents have to have that good conversation with the kid and respect them and let them make life choices. Let them start making life choices for themselves at an age before they're 25 and they've never done it.
Mhm. Yep. And you know what? Here's what you teach your kids. Teach them a fastball, teach them how to hit, teach them how to dance, all that stuff. That's great. Teach them how to be prepared and teach them
Mhm.
how to fail, because
Yeah.
you're going to fail.
Yep.
If you play sports, you're going to fail.
Hmm.
Everyone, here's a great graphic that I love doing this. Okay. If you got, how do I used to say this? If you got a 30 on every test in school and made the honor roll, that's Major League Baseball.
That's right.
You
Three out
get
of
a
10
you
times. Yeah.
3 out of 10 times you're in the Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
You get a hit 3 out of 10 times you go in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're going to fail
you know,
7 times. If you're good, it's only
right?
7 times. If
You're
you're
gonna
really good.
fail, and you should want to fail a little bit, because that prepares you to get better. All right, and parents should understand that your kid's gonna fail. That's part of this.
Hmm.
All right, the best players in the world. All right, Michael Jordan. There's one video of him, and I wish I had it, and I just thought of it a few minutes before we went on the air. I watched a video of him laying out all his failures. The numbers are mind blowing.
Going back
Of
to high
what,
school basketball, yeah.
well, getting cut from your high school team,
Right.
but then he actually went into like the number of shots he missed,
Yeah.
107,000, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You know, games he's lost. He just listed all his failures, and then look at him. You're gonna fail, and parents need to realize that your kid's gonna fail. It's part of life. Makes you better. Makes you a better ball player. Listen, I played too for a long time. I could name all my failures, you know, for sure, because it's all part of it. And parents need to wake up and realize that.
Yeah. And, you know, your kid is going to have to learn how to lose at something and lose with grace and lose with dignity and congratulate the winners. That is class. That's sportsmanship. That's the kind of thing that's an integrity in an individual piece of maturity that your kid can either be turn their back on and not learn during sports, or can take it with them and benefit them for the rest of their life. So I would say nurture the important value pieces that come from playing team sports or even individual sports, as much as, if not more, than how to be the greatest, you know, pitcher of sliders in the history of the ninth grade baseball team at, you know, ABC High School.
Yep. And have, you know, listen, the other thing is, and again, coaching for so many years, I had a great relationship, and I'm not, and I can say this because it's honest, and anyone, you know, who knows me is going to know this. I had a great relationship with all my parents because I was open with them, you know, and if they had a question about playing time or what's going to go on this tournament or what's the pitching rotation, they knew I'd give them a straight answer. Then there's no surprises. Listen, is whoever going to pitch today? Yeah, she can pitch game 3. So what happens in game 1 or 2? They're chill. Cool. I know my daughter's pitching the 3rd game. That's all. Not okay. Well, we'll see, you know, how it goes. And, you know, the other thing that just drove me nuts was, you know, do you have favorites? I heard a coach explain this once, and it was the best thing in the world. He got asked by a parent, do you have favorites? He goes, yeah, I do. He's like, well, you can't have favorites. He goes, yeah, I can have favorites. The ones who give me 100%, those are my favorites.
Right.
You give me 99%, it's an easy decision.
It's the same thing with any boss in any capacity. Of course, you have your people that are your go-to people and your favorites, the people who, not just those who come through, but the ones who show up ready, the ones who have a good attitude, the ones who put everything into it. Of course, they're going to be your favorites. You're right, because they're with the program that you're giving everything you have to. Also, right? I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we do so many on Gold Shields and on this movie analysis. Sorry. And one of my favorites is Miracle. It's one of my favorite movies.
Love that movie.
For sure.
Love it.
And Herb Brooks says at the end of the first cuts, when he picks the first 25 guys, he goes, you give me 100%, you're gonna make my job hard. You give me 99%, you're gonna make my job very easy. Of who the 5 guys I'm cutting are.
Yeah.
That's it. There's a big difference, and coaches see 99% or 100. It's very easy to see that. And you have to, those are the important things you instill in your child. Not you have to be the best, you have to do this, you have to do that. Encouragement is the best thing in the world, no doubt about it. And no one will tell you not to encourage a child, but have the expectations that are realistic and be in their corner. Be the first one. You know, this was one of the things too. Be the first one they run to when they fail, not run away from you.
Right. Not try to hide. That's a great line. And I hope that sticks with people who are watching or listening to us. That's right. You're still there. At the end of it, you're their parent. They look to you for support. They look to you for guidance, but they also look to you for comfort if they need it. They need help dealing with emotions that are tied to sports because they're young and they're not fully developed emotionally, physically. You can either help that or hurt it. So stand with your kids. Now, if you have a kid that's not the greatest athlete, but he loves playing the game, let him play the game. Help him develop if he's willing to put the work in. But if he reaches a point where you're getting into competitive ball, let's say, and the kid's just not that good,
Mhm.
It's okay to have that conversation and say, hey, if you want to put the extra work in, maybe you can get there. But if not, and you want to put your efforts into something else, be realistic, right?
Yep. You know.
Be realistic, and don't make your kids entitled. We're seeing, without naming names, we're seeing people going into or already in professional sports because dad was A,
Right.
and I'm going to get in because of the name, and I'm going to play, and I'm going to make big money. Horrible,
Right.
horrible to see that.
Yep. You
Um,
just got to have, listen, attitude is the best thing. And one quick story, and I love this story. Listen, I was very lucky. I had some really good teams that I coached. Really, really, just really good, solid teams. We played one game one time, a few years ago, and we were playing a team that wasn't, we knew we were going to win. Not to be cocky, but the other team wasn't to our level, and we played, and the girl who was pitching against us pitched the whole game, and she got hit. I mean, we won, a good amount to a little amount. Let's just say that
hmm
that girl on the mound didn't stop smiling the entire game.
hmm
She was getting rocked, home runs, doubles, or whatever. Did not take the smile off her face. After that game, I made it a point. I found her, and she happened to be with her parents. And I called her over, and her parents kind of got a little nervous that I was, talking to her, and they walked over with her. And I said, listen, if you ever want to switch teams and come pitch for me, I'll have you on my team any day. And she went, what? But you beat me. That's not the point. That
hmm
has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Your attitude, I want everyone on this team, on my team, to see your attitude.
hmm
You didn't stop smiling the entire game. And that's what this game's about. I told you, you got an open invitation. You want to play in a great team? Come on, kid. I got you. I give you a
hmm
shirt today.
Wow. Wow.
And what did that do? The look on her face and the look on her parents' faces. That's what this is about. It's a
Yeah.
game. It's
hmm
a game. It's a game to make you better personally,
hmm
and your attitude, just a good attitude going forward in life.
Yep. It can be character developing or it can be soul crushing, and it's up to the parents in many ways, right?
Right.
Because some of these kids put a lot of pressure on themselves already.
Oh man, you have no idea. Dan.
That's
Oh my
right.
God. It's not when we were kids, we played 3 or 4 sports.
hmm
You're playing one sport now. Some play
Yeah.
two, but there's such a craziness with scholarships and beating the next person out and just doing it for 12 months out of the year. And I swear to you, people can, comment, send a comment after the show, whatever. I swear to you, the problem with all these Tommy John surgeries going on is because these kids don't stop throwing
Right.
all year long. They don't stop. It's just continuous. They play in the spring, they play in the summer, they play in the fall, and they work out all winter.
Yeah. Well, I think part of that is because you look at the influx of baseball players from San Pedro de Macorís in Dominican
Hmm.
Republic who play year round,
Hmm.
and some of them are phenomenal players. So you got competition that's playing year round.
Hmm.
So if you
That's
want to compete
exactly
with
right.
them,
Right.
yeah,
But if you're hurt, what good are you?
exactly.
What good are you? I used to have a rule with my daughter when she pitched. You played in the spring, like I just said, you played in the summer. They had a short fall season in college.
hmm
The last game of her fall season, I told her, you are not even to look at a softball until Thanksgiving.
hmm
Don't even look at one. Get them out of your room. Don't even look at one.
Yeah.
She would come home from Thanksgiving. We'd go to the facility we worked out on, throw 20 pitches just to kind of get the blood going.
hmm
That was it. Shut down. After Christmas is when she started working out.
hmm
You have to give your body a chance,
Yeah.
or else it's gonna be hurting later in life.
hmm
And then what good are you? Then you red shirt and you're not the same.
Right.
And you're not gonna come back the same. And then what?
Mm.
You gotta be
It's great.
smart.
You're right. And I think if we had to talk about just a couple of themes of this whole discussion, and we could probably talk for hours about this.
Yeah.
Forget about case studies. There's so many individual case studies of parents getting crazy and fighting with the parents, with the teachers, with I mean, it's just insane. Let's take a deep breath collectively as a society, and let's remind ourselves what kids athletics, and it's kids, We're not talking about 25-year-olds. We're talking about 6, 8, 12, 15, even up to high school. It's about learning how to work as a team. It's about physical fitness. It's about learning character. It's about learning a work ethic, how to develop skills in an area, how to take instruction from a coach, how to execute your assignment within a play or a scheme. These are things that are lifelong building blocks that people will always look back on and say, I learned something when I did that, and I had a great coach. He taught me about this, that, and I had fun
Mm-hmm.
because I sit in school for 7 hours a day and I got homework after this. This has got to be fun. And I work at it, yeah, but it's still got to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can get back to that, and if the parents can take a deep breath and remember, you're probably not going to watch your child run into the Olympic Stadium carrying the torch. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you do, great, but you're probably not. So take that off your kids' chest and shoulders and let them have fun.
And enjoy the moment. Enjoy what you got right now.
Right.
Because, hey, listen, not use a line we use every day of our lives. I think life's too short.
Mhm.
Life goes too fast. You have to enjoy what you have right now. And if you're sitting at a field enjoying watching your kid run around a field, just enjoy it,
Mhm.
because it's not going to last forever. It doesn't last forever. And the end, let me tell you something. I went through 3 of them with an ending, and
Mhm.
the endings suck.
Yeah.
The ending's hard. When you're at a certain level and have a certain gift and you are out there doing your thing, the majority of them, other than the 4%, are going to have an ending,
Mhm.
and make the ending enjoyable, make the memories that led up to that ending enjoyable, and have fun with it. That's all.
2 things come to mind from that. First is from the movie Moneyball, which I love. It's fascinating. And there's a point where the scouts are talking to a young Billy Bean, and they're telling him at some point there's a time when you're told you can no longer play the boys' game anymore. You
Mm-hmm.
can't do it,
Can't
and
do it.
that's a rough reality for people when
It
they
is.
put everything into it.
Yep.
That moment in that movie is so telling because it's so true. So don't let your kids focus so much on it that they don't have a life or anything to fall back on. And professionals, players leave the game all the time with nothing else. I mean,
Right.
money maybe, but what are they going to do now?
Right.
And remember, being a well-rounded person is more important than being the world's greatest,
That's right.
three-point shooter. It's nothing, not to
Be a
take
good
away from
parent.
that.
Just be a good
Right.
parent.
Yep.
That's all. And the majority are. This is a small percentage out there that taints a lot of great parents out there.
Mhm.
But it's this was geared towards just understanding what you're watching and
Mhm.
what your kids are going through. So listen, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight on this
Mhm.
great, I think, topic that was something we wanted to talk about. So got a couple of great shows coming up that are already planned. And as always, thegoldshieldShow.com. Check our regular show out on every platform, and youtube.com/@goldshields. There's so many good shows out there right now that are recorded. Check them out. And once again, real quick, goals.com, tacticalgear.com, and patriotseltzer.com. Please check our friends out and support them because they support us.
Mhm. Absolutely. And fairlineservices.com for anywhere in the country you need security services at a high level. Look up fairlineservices.com. Do yourself a favor, get the pros. Tom, another great conversation, a great timely discussion. There is so much crazy and interesting and intriguing and developing stuff going on in our country alone in the world of criminal justice and all that other stuff that we have no end of topics to talk about
No.
on this law and disorder. And
Nope.
next week is going to be a good one.
Yep. And next week, everyone just stay, pay attention to the posts that are out there, because this show might be on Tuesday night because of our guest that we're going to have. So it might get changed to Tuesday night, but we'll let you know that on our social media outlets and posts. Okay. Everyone out there, stay safe, be good, and we will see everybody next week. Thanks again.
Take care.